Welcome to Stories with Steve, a podcast on the Central Buna Podcast Network. Every Thursday in 5 minutes or less, we'll lift you up with stories of how God works behind the scenes in our lives. Romans 8:28 tells us that God works all things together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. Now with an encouraging story, here's Steve.
You know, thinking about the story of the Scrooge, I always think about the first part when he has the ghost of Christmas past. And, you know, so many of us have things in our past, not ghosts, but just memories, right? Memories that we've had, you know, they may be good and all that, but just certain things. Like, I remember a story that my dad told me about. It was either my grandfather or great-grandfather. I guess it doesn't really matter. But they were all horse traders. They all traded horses. And my grandfather, every Christmas, would feed these horses special oats. And they were kind of expensive. And I said, why do you feed those horses those oats? And he says, because it's Christmas. He goes, those horses don't know it's Christmas. And he said, yeah, they do. They know. He was convinced that the horses knew it's Christmas. And it's just amazing thinking about even the creation that they know something's going on, right? So, and of course, memories about the Christmas tree, the gifts around the tree. And I have to confess that one Christmas, I did try to open up one present because I couldn't figure out what it might be. It was kind of a circular thing. And I thought, man, so I snuck in one night and I tried to open it and the best I can, but and it turned out it was just a belt that was wrapped around in a circle. And I thought, man, I better wrap this thing back up good or that belt might be used on me, right? So, and then another time, I remember me and my little sister, we were at my grandparents' house, and they had a pasture and some woods behind it. And we went out with a little saw, and we sawed down our own little Christmas tree, and we drug it all the way across the pasture. And then we decorated ourselves, and we were pretty proud, even though it did look like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, right? But, you know, when I think about Christmas, all that goes into it, it's the anticipation of it, right, that we do. And a lot of times we get our hopes up for different things. And thinking about the first Christmas, the background, of course, of the Roman occupation of Israel, and they were looking for a Messiah. And, of course, he came not in the way they expected. A lot of people thought he was going to overthrow the government and all that, and didn't work that way. God chose to do it different, and so many times he chooses to do that way in our life. You know, we have our plans we make. Like the song says, we might be dreaming of a white Christmas, but that don't mean we're going to get it, right? So this Christmas, I just encourage you to focus on, you know, what's God's real purpose of Christmas in our lives. You know, his promises, so many of the promises were fulfilled in his first coming, over 300 to 400 promises in the Old Testament. And the same goes with his second coming, that we know he's coming back. So, hey, I was wondering what your favorite memories are of Christmas. I'd love to know about it. Remember, you've got a story to tell.